Welcome to this week's session with Putnam County District Library and the Guiding Ohio Online Grant. Last month we had just taken a brief look at some different tools that are available with any Apple or Mac user and their free applications. One of those was Keynote, and Keynote's a powerful presentation program that is available either on a Mac or an iPad. So we're going to take a little bit more of a detailed look today at what you can do with Apple Keynote. So I have started this out, and actually with my start here of the presentation, you can see this Apple Keynote information was actually on a Keynote slide. So to open up Keynote, you are either going to go to a couple different ways. You can go to the top of your machine and go to Go. You can go to the bottom where you would have your dock information, or you can simply go to the, when you go to your dock, down at the bottom or at the side, wherever you might have that positioned, there's also something called the launcher that you could use. So I'm just going to go for the sake of demonstration, go and go to my applications. And you're going to see all the different applications that come up on my machine. And I am going to simply go down to Keynote, and it's the one that it kind of looks like a little presentation monitor type thing stand there. And you're going to click on that to open up your Keynote. So here's what I was talking about in terms of the appearance of that. So we would click on that, open that up, and then we would now have our Keynote open. And when you do it, open this up, what you're going to see is I'm going to go here to New, you're going to see all the themes. And I know last month when we looked at this, I had shown the themes as one of the kind of the basic intros to how and what to do with Keynote. So you can pick your theme that you might want to use, and I just had picked the basic with the minimal, but you can pick any of these that you might like. Let's just pick the one that says academic for demonstration purposes here. And I'm going to click on that, double click, it will open it up, or I can just go down below here and I can click create. So I now have my first slide, always comes up as a title slide, and you can see over here my appearance. It's got title marked. If I uncheck that, it takes the title part away. If I uncheck body, it takes that away. All of those are standard for what the first slide would look like. But again, as I go here to the top, here's my view button. That's going to change the appearance of how my screen looks. I can add rulers if I so choose. I can change it over to an outline view if I choose here at the side. So all of these, I'm going to change it right back to navigation, because as we're creating, it's nice because your slides will appear on the left-hand side over here. Zoom in, like I've talked about before. This is set right now to fit this slide, but I could change and zoom in and zoom out. And it only changes the appearance of what I see on the screen. It's not really changing or zooming in and out and changing the actual size in terms of printing, what you would get. If I go to add a slide, this is where then I have all of these different options. These are the options that best fit with the theme that I have chosen. So if I simply click here, because maybe the next slide I know I want to add a photo, then I would have this. Now it's got the photo, but remember, if I click here, I can then have this photo and I can make changes and so forth over here on the side. Because on the right-hand side is where I change my style. It's where I can change my image and replace. So I would simply click here. It's going to take me out, and these are my downloads. So I'm going to simply click here on library and hit insert. Now all of a sudden, there on my slide is the library image instead. I'm going to go back here one more time to add a slide. I can then, if I have, notice it says a big fact, if it's a quote, if I have an agenda that I would like to put, and it's just already got those created for me. If I again go to add a slide, I can just click blank. This way I can choose how I want this slide to look. I'm going to leave this on blank for now because I want to show you then going across. We've looked at the view, the zoom, the add a slide. Here's my play button once I have things created. But right here in the middle then is where I would be able to add a table. Very same concept of what we were seeing last week in Pages. I can then over here on my right, I can change the appearance of my table. I can pick how I want this table to look. I can say I want to add a title to my table. Again, when I click, this is what allows me to then be able to type and change what you see. Again, I can change my font style. I can change to bold. Again, now notice I clicked on B. It didn't change anything because I did not have anything highlighted. I highlight it, click on B. Now I've got it bold. I can change my alignment, so I can change it to right, to left, to centered. All of those options are now available. I'm going to, remember, click right here in the center. This actually works on my actual columns and rows. If I click up here and notice now I've got everything highlighted. That's why you see my little dots here. Now if I hit the delete key, my whole table is going to go away. Did that so that then we can go to the next option, which is chart. Same concept of what we saw last week with Pages. I can pick what type of chart that I might want to use. Same concept, change the colors, add a title. I can make a border around it. All of these different options that are available. And I'm going to do the same thing. I can click on this, and remember I can click, get my crosshairs of my dots going around. I can delete, or I can actually go under edit and I can undo. I notice I did move it a little bit, so I'm going to undo the move. I'm going to go under and undo my border. And if I go one more time, undo my title, and I could go undo my insert. And now my chart is going. Text. Remember with text, when we're adding text, I can move this text around. That is what is different than simply typing text onto something. When you do a text box like this, you can move it around the page however you would choose. So I can then click on this, type in my text box. Now by typing in it now, notice here on my right hand side, things changed. I can change my background of the text box itself. I can put a border around it if I were to choose to. I can change the type of border, so I have a lot more details here of what I can do. I can put a shadow on this if I want. Let me go back here to my type. It's a little bit easier if I have. Now notice you can see much more of my shadow by doing that. Again, I got text. I can change all that information. Same exact concept of what we've seen before. Layout just again allows me to make changes within my text box. Again, I'm going to click on this, get my crosshairs, and I'm going to hit delete so that it goes away. Shape, again, same thing we've seen. Click, add my shape in. Again, over here it changes, so I can change my text information, but I can change my style. Here's, again, my colors, how I feel it, how I do a fill. I could do a gradient fill. So notice what happens when I do a gradient fill. It's got additional colors with my gradient fill. So if I did it so that it was maybe a little bit more, this stands out a little bit more. Notice how my gradient fill then changes the appearance. Again, I can click here, add a title. I can add the body. If I wanted to add more information, I can even do my slide number. Notice now I've got my slide number. And I could do that all the way across here. If I did slide number, then you're going to see my slide number. Notice down in the corner, down in the right-hand corner, my slide number is appearing. Okay, I'm going to simply click again, get my crosshairs, delete, click, delete, click, delete. Media. When I go to media, this is actually going out, and I can go out on the web and get photos. I can go out on the web and get movies, music, and so forth. I can do any of that, or I can actually do a live video. I can record my audio. Those are all options that happen under media. So if I click here and go to photos, it's going to go out. This is going to the photos that are on my specific machine. So if I click here, I'm going to get a picture there of my dog. That's what you're going to see, because that just happened to be some photo information that I have on my machine. Same concept here. Again, I can change my frame around it. I can scale this frame to make it bigger. I can again do my shadows. Notice now I have a shadow down below here. And comments is used is if you're working with others and you want to be able to put your comments in here. Here I could say, nice picture, for example, and say done. And this would be something then, if I was sharing this and then I wanted to be able to, because then the person can reply to this or they could delete it. Obviously, if I hit reply, I'm replying to myself, but the next person that was looking at this would be able to do that. And we could go back and forth, and then I can simply delete the comment after so example, if someone were to say, hey, I don't like that picture, you could then delete it out. Collaborate. When you click on collaborate, it's going to allow you to mail, to message, to copy your link, and even to airdrop to other people and invite them to work with you when it comes to using your Keynote. So those are what are some of the more in-depth information that you will find when you are using Keynote. The one other thing that I wanted to make note of today was, notice I can quickly go under File. I can duplicate. I would, of course, want to save. Notice right now this is called Untitled 2. So I do not have a title to this, and you would want to make sure that you did a save as and that you put some type of a title that obviously is recognizable. Otherwise, you're going to get all of these untitled documents. So I'm just going to call this library. We'll call it Library 18. And so now I would have the ability to save that. And notice right now I have it set actually to go out to what is called iCloud. But I could just save that on the machine as well if I choose to. And then under File, the other thing to notice is that I can export this. So if I want to make it a PDF, remember a PDF, someone could not make changes to. But the same thing would be is if I wanted to make this a PowerPoint, I could do that as well. And the other thing to make note is if I have PowerPoint documents, when I open up PowerPoint, I can then do the same thing. I could change this and save it over to Keynote. So I could work back and forth between the two programs. that is what you're going to find and see in a little bit more detail when you're using Apple Keynote. And I look forward to hearing and talking to everyone next week when we take a look at Apple with numbers and what more we could do with numbers as we use these Apple programs that are available either on an Apple computer or your iPad. Hope everyone has a fantastic week.